all of a sudden I started smiling, and it was as if my witness conscious was like, I felt that. I felt I was the witness and not the lower self who was feeling that anxiety. The biggest mistake I have made in my spiritual growth journey is relying too much on my mind. Before I go into why this was a mistake, let me first be grateful for my mind, because I did need my mind to read the spiritual books I read and listen to the spiritual talks and videos I watched and listened to. And there was a stage, and this is Jnana Yoga, right? Yoga, wisdom yoga, which is where we use our mind, our intellectual mind, to understand spiritual concepts, to unlearn the things that we need to unlearn from our past, from our conditioning. And I did that for many, many years through books, podcasts, and videos. But the mistake I made is depending too much on the mind and perhaps overthinking and overanalyzing spiritual concepts like consciousness, oneness, stuff like that, right? Because you cannot understand these concepts at the level of the mind. It's like being inside a jar and trying to read what's on the label on the outside of the jar. So at some point, I had to stop relying only on my intellectual mind and go from my mind into my body. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a little bit. But I'm reminded of Einstein's quote where he says that you cannot solve a problem from the same mind that created it. And I think that's what I was doing. And to give you an example, I'm sure you've heard in spiritual books, talks, that time is not linear. In this 3D world on Earth, we experience it as linear, which means we see that there's a past, a present, and a future. But in reality, there is no past, present, and future. There is just now and nothing else. And I tried so hard to grasp this concept using my mind. But this is just not something that you can grasp at the level of the mind. So I'm still very grateful to my mind because, like I said, a lot of my wisdom yoga, my Jnana yoga, a lot of my spiritual growth and understanding about the ego and so many concepts like that, it happened by using my mind, right? But it's just that my mind could only take me so far. And at one point, to make any further progress, I had to go from the mind into the body. And how I did that is by using breath work and by feeling my body, by putting my consciousness more into my body and my body sensations, especially when I was feeling difficult emotions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the first one, breath work. I know you've heard it a million times from all the experts, whether they're spiritual experts or health experts, of the importance of breathing and breath work. But the problem is that when something is free and when you have heard it millions of times, you take it for granted. I feel like breathing, deep breathing or breath work, whatever you want to call it, is so underrated. And it's because it's free, right? Sometimes we only put value on something when we have to spend a lot of money, let's say on buying a course to learn some technique, as opposed to breathing, which is freely available and we can do it anytime, anywhere. And I used to be in this boat too. I was like, okay, breath work, it sounds so boring. Yeah, deep breaths, yeah, heard that a million times. And I didn't value it as much until I started practicing it. So what I'm going to do is, I am not a breathwork expert or teacher, but I'm going to leave you 2 YouTube links in the description. of two different teachers trying to teach breathwork. And this is just a starting place so you can explore on your own. If you have not done breathwork and you want to explore this, you're curious to explore this, perhaps try these two videos and see if it resonates with you or which way works better for you. And they're both just 10 minutes or so. So you just play them and follow along and do the breathing that the teachers are telling you to do. And they're fun videos. They're not boring videos. It's like look at it like a game, okay? And I think you will enjoy them. So by going from mind to the body, I told you I did it through two ways. One is breathing and second is body sensations. You have to experience it to understand, right? After doing breathing for a few, let's say, months, or maybe even weeks, everybody's different, I feel like you will grow spiritually more than you can only by reading and listening to spiritual stuff. So now I want to talk about the second thing I mentioned, which is body sensations. I was rereading Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and something that he said, and I'm paraphrasing him, he said something on the order of, you can gain more by feeling than by thinking. It was something like this. I'm really butchering the quote, but this is all I can remember. You can gain more or progress more, perhaps, by feeling than thinking. You think here, but you feel in your body, okay? So every time you feel a disturbance, every time there is a difficult emotion to handle, like fear, anxiety, sadness, jealousy, these sort of emotions that we call difficult emotions, usually our tendency is to distract ourselves so we don't have to feel it, or numb ourselves because feeling them is uncomfortable and we don't want to be uncomfortable. So our default reaction is to numb ourselves or to distract ourselves. But if we can practice to sit with these emotions, they are just energy. Emotions are just energy trying to pass through our body. And if we can allow them to pass through, if we can, instead of pushing them away, resisting them, and tensing up, if we can physically relax and kind of surrender to the emotion and let it pass through, it will pass through, okay? It could take 20 minutes, it could take 30 minutes, depending upon the intensity of the emotion. But the more you do it, the more you practice, the better it gets, the better they are able to pass through you. I feel like doing that work, and I've been doing that for more than a year now, that has been a game changer in my spiritual growth. There were things that theoretically I could not understand. It just did not make sense to me. But having done the work, having done this work of feeling my body sensations and just sitting and watching them without pushing them away, without judging, just watching without any judgment. Doing this work for about a year has helped me progress so much more in my spiritual growth. And now I understand concepts. For example, I understand concepts like witness conscious and higher self. Before, these were just concepts. These were just terms I had read in books or heard in talks. I'll share a story. So this has happened to me more than once, where I'm feeling some difficult emotion. Let's say it's overwhelm, and I decided to sit with it. I decided to just sit and let it pass through me, not resist it, and focus on the body sensations. And for me, usually it's in the right side of my chest, where I would feel it as heaviness or tightness or pain or sometimes burning. And I would just put my attention there and feel it. And within about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, again, it depends, it varies, it doesn't happen every time. But most of the time, within 20, 30 minutes, I remember one time I was, I think, feeling anxiety or overwhelm, and I'm sitting with this, doing the relax and release. And I have made a separate video on how I handle my difficult emotions, where I describe this full process, all the steps of relax and release that I do. I will link that video in the description below so you can watch it. But I just want to finish that story of what happened after like 20-30 minutes of just allowing that emotion to be and relaxing and releasing and focusing on the body sensation. What happened is that all of a sudden I started smiling, and it was as if my witness conscious was like, I felt that. I felt I was the witness and not the lower self who was feeling that anxiety. And that caused a smile. And it also caused like a realization of, oh, this is what they mean by witness consciousness, or this is what they mean by higher self. Because it's almost like I felt I was that. I was the witness that was watching the lower self that was struggling. But this witness was not struggling. And because somehow I felt like I became the witness, I started smiling. And a feeling of peace and calm washed over me. And so these sort of things you have to experience. You cannot just believe somebody's words when they say that, yes, you can achieve this state. You know, you can be the watcher, you can be the witness and be at peace, and let the turmoil of emotions happen, but you can just watch it peacefully. Until you experience it for yourself, that knowledge is theoretical, that's limited. And once I understood it by feeling it myself, by experiencing it myself, I feel like that really helped me to understand other concepts too, which I was struggling with. So that's what I would recommend, that if you're stuck on the level of the mind, try to go into the body, try breath work, try this technique of relax and release and focusing on your body sensations when you're feeling difficult emotions. Because for me, this has been the big breakthrough in my spiritual growth that I needed. And it helped me to understand a lot of the theoretical concepts. And I'll give you one more quick example. In one of my meditations, again, I think it started with like feeling anxiety or overwhelm or fear, something like that. And then there came a time, and I don't know why this seems to happen to me around the 20-30 minute mark. But like I said, it varies. It doesn't happen in the experience that I described before and the one I'm about to describe, it does not happen every time. But I'm sharing because the times that it did happen, those are the moments where I was able to experientially learn what witness conscious is, what higher self is, what lower self is. So in this time, after about 20-30 minutes of meditation, I just felt a lot of what I can only describe as divine love. It's almost as if God, or it's like a parently kind of love. I felt like almost like God is giving me a hug, not an actual hug, but like a figurative hug, and saying, I see you, I see your pain, and I'm with you, and you will be okay. I just felt that sort of reassurance, that sort of divine love, which I'm struggling to express in words, but this is the best I can do because words is what I have right now to share this with you. And when I felt that divine love, I started crying. And this, for me, tears are, you know how there's different love languages? I feel that for me, tears are my language for connection to God, perhaps, where when something happens and at the same time I start tearing up, and like something just touches me deep in my heart and in my soul, I just feel like, okay, that is like a message from God, or it just feels amazing. Again, I'm struggling to find words, but having had some experiences like this, I just feel like I have more faith. I can understand some spiritual concepts deeper, because before I was just stuck on the level of the mind. And my meditations have also changed. Before, I used to meditate to get something. It was almost like I'm rating myself before and after the meditation that, oh, I think I should feel more relaxed, or I should feel happy or something after meditation. Now I just meditate for the sake of it. I do not look for any outcome. So even though I have described these experiences where I started smiling or, started crying because I felt divine love, I do not look for these to happen again, because I have learned that the more you try to recreate these experiences in meditation, it's not going to happen. It only happens when you least expect it, and not chase these experiences. So what happened for me may not happen for you when you meditate, or when you do the relax and release and go into your body, because we are all different. Our paths are all different. But I'm just showing you what's possible when you go from the mind to the body. So let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you have also been like stuck on the level of the mind, and what happened when you tried to go into the body, from just being in your head.